Welcome to Between the Games 2.0. These episodes are to cover general video game discussion and general life talk. I'm your host, Jess, and as always, I'm accompanied by my co-host, Eric.
Hey, these episodes are going to be a little bit different from our typical ones. Short game, long talk, we're a little more focused on games specifically. And we used to do a thing what was called an intermission. And those were, people liked those and stuff, but sometimes they went on for way too long. And so what I thought was for Between the Games, we're basically going to take the vibes of intermissions and make them into their own little episodes. Sometimes they might be like old ones where we would like go see a movie or read a book or something like that and talk about it on here that's related to video games. But most of the time it's just going to be us kind of surprising each other with like, oh, what have you been playing? What have you been talking about and stuff like that. But Jess, what are we talking about today? Because we actually planned some stuff for today.
Yeah, today we're talking about the 1000xRESIST endings, because if you haven't checked out our most recent episode, go check it out. That's such a cool episode. We talked with the creative director and one of the writers of the game itself. Cool guy, Remy Sue.
Yep.
But I didn't get to finish it, so I didn't get to talk about all the endings. So today we'll talk about those endings. And also, Eric and I went and watched Sonic 3, so we're also going to cover a bit of Sonic 3 today.
Yeah, not too much. We've done movie reviews in the past, but I think we're just going to kind of talk about our favorite moments and video game movies as a whole at this point, because there's been a lot of them now.
Yeah.
But speaking of 1000xRESIST, if you have listened to our last episode, hi, hello, welcome back. If you would like a little more 1000xRESIST content, go check out Jordan, our friend of the show, Jordan, Cognitive Clips on YouTube.
Clips.
Yeah, he has a great video that is about, I think I did the math and it's like 10% of our episode. His length is 10% because I think it's like 12 minutes instead of 2 hours and 15 minutes. But he did a really great episode that he's been working on for a really long time, and it happened to come out the same week that our episode came out. So we want to make sure that people are checking that video out too, because it's quite good. But I'm literally chomping at the bit right now to hear about chapter 9 and 10 of 1000xRESIST for you and the epilogue. So tell me all about what happened for you.
Okay. I'm going to be completely honest. Chapter 9 was a blur.
Mm-hmm.
I don't completely remember.
Mm-hmm.
But chapter 10 I do. Oh, yes.
Let me pull up my I have notes still from the
cool.
breakdown, and just to make sure, because I did mention that in the episode, like the last 7 to 10 are like nuts.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a blur, like where things are happening and what's happening and whatnot. So I do not blame you at all. Let me pull these up.
I have the wiki up too.
Is the wiki good? I haven't checked it out.
It helped me write down what the name of my ending was.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I definitely did that. I'm very curious, but don't tell me yet. I want to know. I want to know when you get there, because yeah, I did 2 endings. I will say that, because technically
I only did the one.
I technically did 3, but one of them's basically the same as the other one. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I remember chapter 8, but it was very I was completely okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Let me finish. Yeah. Because it was just explaining the aftermath of what you're of the whole bombing and stuff.
Right. Yeah, you basically get chapter 9 is you find the control station, or as I called it in the episode, you find the arc, right? And you kind of find out what happened to the 50, which is honestly, because it's the 50, I was less interested. So I didn't do that was the one time I voluntarily did not do all the optional stuff.
That was actually the one time I did do all the optional stuff.
Because it was in a confined small area.
It was in a confined small area, and also ever since the beginning, I always had curiosity for Mimi, the 50.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was the only, other than Mom, Zhao, and Iris, and then all the like Iris types.
Mm-hmm.
She was the only other girl. So I was
Yeah.
like, who's this Mimi the 50?
Yeah.
Um, so I would like constantly go around trying to find Mimi and like hear her part of the story. Um,
Yeah, she's very important.
yeah. I
And
mean, she
she grew super attached to. Oh yes, I
Iris.
we didn't even talk about it, but like super big spoilers for 1000xRESIST. Go listen to the other episode first and come back here, or
Yeah.
we'll play the game. I like completely forgot to mention that. Yeah, she got super attached to Iris, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
No, and that chapter, I literally like, oh, you can't see me. I was about to show you my expression. But my camera isn't on, and
yeah,
audio listeners cannot see my expression.
right.
So,
We're
but like
professionals here.
because there's a part in that chapter where um you go to the next like part in the timeline.
Right.
That was also a mechanic I loved. I forgot to mention this, but
Oh,
the timeline skips
yeah.
were so cool. And like after I got it down, because I didn't have like I was just using my keyboard to
Oh,
control everything.
interesting.
Because I don't have a controller to like link to my tiny laptop.
Right.
But once I got it down, because it's just Q and E,
Mm-hmm.
so I was able to start switching between the times very quickly if I needed to, or like if I wanted to. Because there were times where I was like, wait, I need to go back and hear this part of dialogue again. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember. Um,
Yeah, there's
but
quite a bit unveiled in chapter 9.
yeah,
There's a lot revealed in chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
10.
Like it's quite a bit.
I genuinely, it wasn't until chapter 9 where I was like, oh, this entire thing's like an actual spaceship.
Mhm. Kind
I
of,
like
yeah.
it didn't click in my brain that
The orchard.
the orchard, like I knew that it was inside and
Mhm.
everything because the fake sky or whatever,
Right.
but I thought it was more like a greenhouse type of inside,
Okay.
not in a like spaceship type.
Right, like they went somewhere and built it, not
Yeah.
that it's part of a flying contraption that's like 600 feet underwater and in the ground. Which is crazy. The thought of that. Uh, yeah. So what did you think of the deal? Like you find out like Iris made that deal to kill the 50 and everything.
Oh, I was like horrified.
Yeah,
That was
it's
what I was gonna bring
crazy.
up, was that part where I was like my literally when I was listening to the dialogue and like reading and like learning about it, mouth agape. I was I'll have to show Eric a picture of it, but my setup was crazy. Um I have we now moved a futon into my room. So I
Oh.
have a futon at the edge of my bed. So I I'm sitting on the futon. I have a uh sitting desk on my lap with my mechanical keyboard and my mechanical mouse, and then my laptop on a chair in front of me. It makes no sense, and I'll have to show a picture.
Yes. That would be great. I'd love the context. Maybe it'll be the thumbnail for the episode.
um, but I was like literally sitting there, crisscross applesauce too. So my keyboard is on top of my lap while I'm crisscross.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, "What? What?" And I
Yeah.
took off my keyboard off my lap so I could get closer to my laptop so I could see exactly what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
that
it
that
was
was
crazy to me.
that whole scene of like Johnson being like, "What did you do?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, yeah." He was like so cuz Johnson is such a tragic character. Like he's definitely somebody that seemed like he had good intentions and he just was in the wrong place, wrong
At the
time.
wrong time.
Yeah. That's why I asked him about I asked Remy about adaptations and other stories and everything like that cuz they're
Mm,
called the 50 because there's
50 other
49 other
fleets.
ships that are out there and we lose contact with a lot of them like 42 and things like that, but I'm like
Yeah,
there's got to be some, right, that are still kicking.
well, in there it said that like, well, they did just lose
Mhm.
contact, and there were some that completely said like that they were gonna self flood or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be very curious what was going on in those other ones. Like
Yeah.
They remind me of the vaults from Fallout. I don't know if you're
Mm,
familiar with
I am.
all the different vaults. Like each one typically has a different social experiment that's happening within it. Um,
I know there's a
and
specific vault with like that it was made underneath the school to have kids like go in there, become the super soldiers, and if they failed the tests, they got killed or something like that.
yeah, I don't know specifically like which one that is, but yeah, there's tons of things like that. There's also like experiments with human plant hybrids and things. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, that's
crazy.
crazy.
But yeah, like what if that's what's going on, right? Like they had Iris and she's the one immune person, so they're doing experiments on her to make more immune people. But then everyone else is doing like radical experiments on people to try to find a cure, kind of thing.
And that in that chapter too, Johnson was talking with Mimi about how they were trying to find like trying to make the babies.
Hmm.
And that like I was like, "What?"
Hmm.
Cuz at first the babies didn't like even make it past like utero.
Hmm.
But then in like page 13 of the timeline skip, Mimi's finally comes up to Johnson and is like, "Hey, there's a baby in third trimester now. Like this one looks promising. Let's give it to Iris so that she can raise it."
Hmm.
And he's like, "No."
Yeah.
That was I found that like crazy. I was like, "Whoa, wait, they made babies from her? Like
Yeah.
from her DNA?" Which
Yeah.
when you look at the whole game itself, that's not super crazy.
No, it's pretty tame actually. It's like the more normal way of cloning that we have like in real life that you can do. Where
But
like
in my brain, since I was already like looking through the perspective of Blue and the Watcher, I was like, why didn't they just clone her hair like they like figured out?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's like so many unanswered questions, and I'm sure Remy would, if he's listening, would love to not answer them, because he likes to leave it up for interpretation. Which was why I wanted. That was another reason why I wanted you to finish the game was because I was like, I want to talk interpretations with you. Um, but that's chapter 9, right? You find out about what happened to the 50, and then that's the next chapter is like the final chapter, when things really like hit the fan,
Yeah.
after you've like blown up a you've done the terrorist act basically, and then now you find out what happened to principal and Zhao. But what did you basically from here on out, like we don't need to talk too much spoilers of like what's happening and stuff, but basically like the plan is to commune with a occupant,
Oh my
uh
god, yeah.
because you find out that secretary is an occupant. He's like a little
Occupant.
mini occupant, and um, him, it's what's the other one's name? Uh, Vice is the yellow one, or the red one, and then Remy said that the fans have called the yellow one Jiao is what it's called apparently.
Oh.
Uh, but yeah, if all three of those link up, basically, you are able to uh, you're able to commune with an occupant and bring an occupant to where they are. So because they're raising the platform or the ark out of the water up into the surface, which
Yes.
makes it so that an occupant can attack fully. So from that point, you go in and like that's where it gets crazy. But you had some reactions, so I want to hear your thoughts on all this.
Um there was so I remember I vividly remember this cuz I was playing it on like Saturday night at 2 in the morning to be
That's a great time to play it.
completely honest with you. But I do vividly remember this part because at first it starts you off like your first scene that you see is you falling through the air,
Yeah.
like through glass.
The whole
S-
the fake ceiling breaks,
The
right?
whole
The
fake
fake
ceiling.
sky is just like
Yeah.
you're just falling down.
So I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And it
Yeah.
takes you, like years ago and hours ago and 10 minutes ago. Which was I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But there's a
Me too.
part in that point in like where you're about to fall through the glass where Mauve shows up.
Hmm.
And that point I had gotten attached to BB again. I was
Yeah.
still attached with Fixer, still loved Healer. So I was like, all right, okay, whatever, it's fine. I kept trying to go towards the door because I was like, let's
Mhm.
go downstairs. And BB was like, not now, Blue. Go help Fixer.
Right.
Like, okay, whatever. Go talk with Fixer. And then BB gets shot.
She does murk somebody first,
She
though.
does, yeah.
Right
Oh,
away.
yeah.
That elevator opens and she's like, boom, immediately. But yeah,
Which I, out loud at 2 a.m. with people asleep across the hallway, I went, you go, BB.
I was, but then
But then
Mauve, whatever. Yeah, fuck her. Killed my
fuck
BB.
Mauve.
Was so
But,
sad, dude. But
yeah.
she had to die. I talked about this with Remy, like when you were off mic,
Mm,
but she had to die, right? She has a gun. She was the one, like this was her purpose, right? This is what she was here for, was to defend them. And she felt like she failed. She felt like tons of people had died
under her
because of
watch.
her. But that's not true. She did a good job. BB's the best. I love her.
um,
But then you crashed
that
through the floor.
Yeah, that entire sequence was crazy. And then he crashed through the ceiling. And this part, I was like, what's happening? What's, what's
Hmm.
happening? Secretary basically pulls you out while you're still in the sky,
Hmm.
like still actively free falling. And Secretary's like, hey, I can start the commune right now,
Yeah.
but we only have 5 minutes. So
Yes.
we are starting it, but you have to be at the top of this place or else you'll die.
Yeah, and you get
And
this zip. Oh, this is so
that
sick.
triggered the most scariest 5 minutes of my life. I got it done. I had like 3 minutes to spare,
Yeah.
but
There's a lot of time.
I still was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, because you have to
Hmm.
zip from the bottom all the way to the top of this thing, and it's like all fragmented, and
Hmm.
it's really cool design.
It's
Again,
basically reusing all the assets that you've like seen throughout the whole game, and which was
you
so
use
cool.
the stairs, you use like ramps. It's so cool.
Hmm. But yeah,
Water,
I thought that
sorry.
I thought that part was super cool. I was like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, okay. This made the zipping mechanic like so worth it, because like this triumphant, like you got to get to the top like in time. I'm very curious what would happen if you didn't. Like it'd just be like
Yeah, I kind
it'd
of want
probably
to
just be a
go.
try again, right?
Yeah, I want to go through chapter 10 again just so I could see all the different endings too because I only did one of them.
Hmm.
Um cuz as much as like hearing you tell me your three endings, I still want to see all the different endings.
Yeah.
And this game is definitely I think I have 59% of all the
Hmm.
achievements.
Yeah, you could
So now I
definitely
want to go back
100%
and
it.
do all 100% of it. And the
Yeah.
great thing about this game is it has chapter load. So if you don't want to go through through all the chapters just to get to chapter 6, you don't have to.
No, which is really nice. Yeah. Um, so yeah, you get through that, and then that's when you get to like, because we don't want to go too in detail on everything. We want to just get to the endings. You get to the epilogue part, which is where Secretary has now become a full on occupant, and he saves the three of you from falling, and then you have to make a decision, and you're basically back in the
Beginning.
early game, like everything's water and dark and there's street lights and stuff.
Epilogue looks exactly like almost exactly like chapter redacted.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool, which makes it, maybe it's a loop, right?
Right.
um but to like not go into too much details, it basically is like everything from your parents, or I guess Iris's parents, to the principal, to the Red Guard, to all of the sisters and everything like that, and the Jow clones and everything. You get to basically decide what goes forward, right? What you keep with you moving forward. And this is where it kind of determines your ending. So I would like to hear what you got.
I got actually one of the two true endings.
Hmm.
I got oh, save me with this pronunciation. Ep epitaph?
Epitaph.
Epitaph
Yeah.
blue.
Okay, nice. You got the one that I like better. Um, I got, yeah, that's so you what that means is you kept everything except for the Red Guard, Malv, and Principal. You got rid of all those, and you kept
Yeah,
everything else. Uh,
for the
Before
most
we get
part.
into your take on those, what I did was I thought it was cheeky, right? Because I'm like, I was thinking, I was like, okay, to me, I'm now in retrospect, I've interpreted this ending differently, as in like what you as a person are bringing forward and what kind of things you're leaving behind, right? But at the time, I was interpreting it literally as like, if I move forward, what does everyone remember, right?
Yeah.
Um, so me being like a bit of a history buff and everything like that, and like I was like, no. My first thought was like, fuck the police, right? And get rid of Malv and the Red Guard. But I was like, what if you should keep everything, right? What if
Yeah.
you what if everything, because if we ignore those things and don't learn from them and people don't pay for the things that they've done, then we don't move forward as a society, right? That was my thought process of like, maybe that's the cheeky ending. My first thought though was to get rid of those two. What happens when you do that is Watcher or Blue gets shot immediately by Mouth,
Damn.
and the game's over. But we talked about that a little bit with Remy, like I did, and it's kind of like, that people have interpreted that as a bad ending, but it's not necessarily a bad ending. It's more of, uh, now everyone knows all the stuff, but your perspective as Blue ends, right?
Mm.
One more person dying may not necessarily be the bad ending. We just don't have a perspective of it, which is pretty neat. But I did go back and I kept the principal thinking the same thing of being like, no, fucking you need to pay for your shit.
Yeah,
You need
tone
to
for
answer
yours.
for. But tell me about the blue ending, which I really
Um,
liked.
I really liked it. I definitely kept like turning on and off lights because I was like, well, maybe I should, you know, people can have second chances.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a point where secretary was like, "Are you sure?"
Oh yeah.
And things can like giving a different perspective on everything. And I was like, "Secretary, you can't keep asking me if I'm sure because I will never be sure."
Hmm.
But as for like the actual ending, like after I had chosen and like I was like, "Yeah, I don't want this other Iris coming over and trying to take over the world again
Hmm.
because I didn't let them in, and I also didn't let in the Red Guard, Mauve, Principal, and the other. No, I let in the other Jows. For a second, I didn't
Hmm.
because I was like, what if they just bring back their assault rifles and try to kill
They did get a little scary there at the end for sure. I was like,
But
"Whoa, you guys are a little
I left them
radical
in.
right now." No, I think that was the right choice because they just wanted to live on their own.
Yeah, they just didn't want to be attached to Iris anymore. So I was like, you know what? I respect it. You deserve it. But the actual ending, I really liked it. I really liked because basically in that ending, you go around and um, you're back in the orchard and with like an older Blue.
Yeah, it's blue.
Oh yeah, because Watchers.
Watcher's
Forgot.
dead.
Yeah, I forgot about that train wreck.
Yeah. Uh.
um, but so Blue's like, oh hey, you know, I usually come here myself, like by myself, but I'm glad you could join us. And I think we're a Zhao.
You are. You're a Zhao clone.
Um, and you basically get to go around the orchard and um, like you go find the tombstones of all the sisters. And there's one of the principal too, one of Zhao, Cherry. Was it Cherry?
Hmm?
Zhao.
Oh yeah. The different Zhaos. Yeah.
You get to go see all their graves, and when you go read like their um resting points, they like once you read their tombstones, they're holographic, and that's like they're holograms. But I really liked the holograms of everyone because I
Me
first
too.
immediately went to Bang Bang Fire because I knew
Hmm.
where Bang Bang Fire was gonna be because I was like, I know that red ass building or that orange ass uh not building room.
Room. Yeah.
I know how to get there. That's got to be where she's at. She was, but
Yeah.
I just think it was really cool and a really great design choice.
Yeah. I thought
And
that was my favorite part, honestly. Like, I told Remy, like, the holograms brought me so much joy, like seeing them all interact again without actually interacting, right? Like, there's no
yeah.
dialogue, there's no nothing happening, but it's such a cool experience. What did you think of Blue's look?
Oh, I loved how she looked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she was
Yeah.
so pretty.
She looked dope.
She looked dope as fuck with like the silvery, purpley.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So then you liked all the different holograms and all that stuff. What did you how were you like how did you feel when you had done everything in the orchard and then went and talked to Blue?
I kind of felt bittersweet.
Hmm.
Because I was like, oh my god, this is like the end,
Hmm.
and I forgot her last like dialogue.
Yeah, she
I mean,
basically asks you like, are you sure? Like
oh yeah, you'd
you
stay
can
here for a
wait.
while.
Yeah. Like, and then she says like, I'm gonna be here for a while, kind of thing.
Yeah. Um.
Well, let me send you in the general chat, what, because I got the red one, right? I got the red ending, the red epitaph, and Principal is there instead of Blue. And go ahead and look in the general chat because she looks crazy. Uh,
Whoa.
yeah, dude, she looks nuts. And I was like, okay, uh, that's crazy. Yeah, it's very similar, except you get you get a an epitaph like a hologram for Blue and stuff like that. Um, so that was my like if I would have gone with my gut, that would have been my true ending. And it wasn't as good as the Blue one. Like the dialogue's a little different, but I'm not going to spoil that for you. You'll get a little bit of a difference, but I'll read one and another. Like I'll compare the two real quick. So for BB, Blues says remains. Remember a philosophizing Bang Bang Fire who hated her role and was difficult to understand. She carried the past with her like a shadow. She was happier when she was drunk. For you, something funny. And then it says, I wouldn't mind something funny as like your character, the Zhao. And then
Mm.
for the red one, it says, Here lies Bang Bang Fire, which clumsily wandered roots who fought the gun and lost. Let your hands be clean now. You are swimming, Hecky Grace. And then it says, I'll place candies here. So like there's a different vibe, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Whose clumsily wandering roots who fought the gun and lost. Like it's very, very more poetic and stuff, whereas Blue is a lot more she's thinking back on things. But
Yeah.
any other comments for 1000 times resist in your endings? Like how would you how are you feeling about the like this game as the first game we played for 2025 and knowing that everything else will have to beat it basically?
Oh, I don't. I know this is 11 months away, but Game of the Year is gonna be hard.
It's going to be very difficult, but I am also trying to bring on like award-winning games onto this show this year. That's like my goal. So that
Mm.
the ending discussion is going to be spicy kind of thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to
I
bring
think
there's going to be a lot of games that have gotten a lot of nominations and a lot of awards this year. That's my vibe.
I think Game of the Year this year is definitely gonna have to be in person
Yeah.
so that we could fight like duke this out.
Yes. Yeah. It'll definitely be tough for sure. Um, but I'm really glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you trusted me enough to just play it blindly with no
I know I didn't
insight at
look at
all.
and and I didn't look at any walkthroughs or anything before playing.
Hmm.
I just played,
Well, now you
which
know
is
to trust me when I tell you to just play a game, right?
all right,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, it's good stuff. Um, but that game was it's spectacular. It's won a bunch of awards. The day after we recorded with Remy, it won for best narrative at the Indie Game Awards. And I was like messaging him. I was like, "Yo, dude, that's so exciting." So they've been crushing it. They're showing up on all kinds of end of the year lists right now. So I'm happy it's getting all the flowers right now. They deserve it.
They do. Especially those voice actors. I know we talked about this with Remy, but God, those voice actors.
So good.
Especially the um the occupant at the end where it was the two voices layered over each other.
Yeah, it was
I thought that was
secretary.
so sick.
It was secretary, and then the other voice was very cool. Yeah. Shout outs to everyone involved in that game. It is a masterpiece, and I think this will be a game that a lot of people will discover over the years and be like, "How did I miss this game?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I also just want to point out, this is their first game, bro. Like, what? This is
Like,
crazy.
how is
to
this
think.
your first? Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. Like, yeah, this is gonna be, yeah, and they're working on a short game too, so they'll get featured on here again whenever that comes out. Because I'm definitely never gonna miss any game from Sunset Visitor moving forward.
Yeah.
But with that, we will start talking about Sonic. How about that?
Yeah.
Completely different
Sonic.
topic. If you skipped over all of 1000xRESIST for spoiler reasons, this is it. This is your time. Jess, what'd you think? What'd you think of Sonic?
I loved it as always. I've loved the first two.
Hmm.
Um, I think. Hold on, because I think all of them I've seen specifically only with you.
Correct. Wait, maybe not the first one because that came out like the year COVID happened. So I think I've only seen 2 and 3 with you.
Really?
I thought so because didn't I'm pretty sure
It
Sonic.
did come out in 2020,
Yeah, and I was in California at the
February
time.
14th, 2024,
Yeah, so
or
there's no way.
2020. Yeah.
There's no way.
Well,
You
then I
were
must have watched it like at your house or something.
probably that. Yeah, that I can see happening. We probably like rewatched it before watching the movie. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we watched it right before Sonic 2.
yes, that makes sense.
Because I had never seen Sonic 1
Oh, okay. So then you have only watched them with me, but the first one we did not watch in theaters.
in theaters. But yeah, I've always loved the Sonic movies. Um, they've always had a like special place in my heart because of in 2020. I remember like my group chats passing around the petition to like um make them change the animation for Sonic.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, technically that was back in 2019,
Yeah,
but
right.
um it's always just been such a funny movie. And I think I've said this multiple times discussing the other two
Mhm.
Sonic movies and probably like just in personal one-on-one discussions.
Mhm.
I've grown up with Sonic my entire life. Whenever I'd go down to Mexico and there'd be like a day where we had nothing to do, we'd go over to my cousin's house and she had a GameCube where I'd play like a Sonic game there
Mhm.
with the little. They had them in the Sonic 3 movie.
Mhm.
The garden.
Oh, the Chow
The,
Garden.
yeah, the Chow
Yeah.
Garden.
Chow Garden's dope. They're still missing
Chow
out by
Garden's
not
so
making
good.
that a mobile game.
Right?
Yeah, just leaving money on the table.
But yeah, I've always loved Sonic. Sonic 3 was a good movie, great movie. Um, Also near and dear to my heart because my roommate and
Oh,
I,
right, yeah.
since freshman year, we've always joked that I'm Sonic in their shadow. Um, so having our movie come out, we were like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." But yeah, I think it was a great movie. I think. Hold on, I have some notes on
Where
my
does it
notebook.
rank among the 3 for you?
Among the three, I think it goes Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic 1.
I think I'm sitting there too, but maybe in a second watch through, it might be my favorite. But I didn't leave there thinking, yeah, this was the best one.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely because I rewatched Sonic 1 and 2 with my boyfriend
mhm.
because he hadn't seen them and they're both on Hulu.
They might have been, yeah, because I don't.
They're on a streaming
I
service
know
right
they're on
now.
Paramount Plus, but we don't have that, and we definitely watched the first and second one, or at least the second one. And I think it's Hulu. I think you're right.
Uh, and I still think that like Sonic 2 was my favorite out of all of them. But I have some very bullet pointed notes about Sonic 3.
Let's hear them.
Great. funny. Has stuff for fans and non-fans as well. Um, in very vague details on my list, end credit scenes with a big period.
Yeah, they were big.
Um, yeah.
We'll get
Loved
there.
Shadow slash Super Saiyan. And
Yes.
then, just in quotes, Hot Topic.
The Hot Topic joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That the movie had its moments, right? Like the moments might be higher and I will say another thing that's like, again, if you're listening to this point, spoilers and everything, but the amount of humans in this movie that are not named Dr. Robotnik was just right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about them. We have four anthropomorphic animals that are now in this story and two Dr. Eggmen. Like, let's just focus on them. That's all we care about. Um, and so that I thought that was that's my favorite part about this movie compared to the other ones is like we get a lot of Sonic action, we get a lot of Shadow, a lot of Knuckles, and not enough Tails, if I'm being honest, but a
Not,
good amount.
yeah,
But a good amount
I miss Tails, but he's being his little guy in the in the
in the chair.
chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost said
He's a
corner.
cutie. He's a cutie. He had some great moments, but what are your what are your favorite moments? Like, give me like three moments that were your
Um,
favorite.
oh, I just remembered that we needed to look at voice clips of Maria
Oh yeah, right. Okay. Let
because
me. We had a
someone's
request.
wife
Yeah,
said that I sound
yeah,
like her sometimes.
yeah. You have to try to get this. Let me see.
If I can hear it, I can probably do it.
Let me
But
see
I
if I can
loved
find
the
it.
backstory of Maria. But okay, I will out myself here. I'm not like a super big Sonic lore fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that Maria was like an actual like lore character.
Right.
I thought she was made for the movie. So I loved the Maria. Um,
Like all the Maria scenes.
yeah,
Okay.
especially with her doing the guitar, like that whole
Oh, where she played
flashback
Escape from
deal.
the City.
Yeah.
The one time that it was played in that's my biggest complaint about this movie is that Escape from the City is nowhere to be seen fully, but it's in the credits, like the song, and it's because she just plays like pew, 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 on her fucking guitar, and I was like, no, that is not enough. But maybe it'll be in the next game or next movie. Um, I can while you're looking that up, I can talk about my favorite stuff because
Yes.
mine was Shadow's intro to like meeting the rest of the crew was absolute
Yes.
insanity. Um, Knuckles having a great line of like Sonic's like, "No, we don't want to fight you," and he like leans in. He's like, "Actually, I would like to fight." Is so great. Knuckles is still
So
a
good.
star. Um, but God, fucking Shadow on a motorcycle with a gun.
Yes, with the slide was
The
crazy.
Akira slide and everything was so sick. Yeah, after that, there's a lot of good moments, but you mentioned it a little bit in your bullet point notes. But the Shadow
Super
and
Saiyan.
Sonic fight, where they both go Sonic and Super Shadow. Oh. Sorry, Super Sonic and Super Shadow. That is the best, like, quote unquote live action Dragon Ball Z fight I've ever seen in my life. It was so sick. And what's cool about it is like Sonic and Shadow are the colors that they are when they turn super because of Dragon Ball Z. So it's not like an accident. Um, Shit is sick. It was so cool. But I have to say my favorite moment is the mid credits scene. Uh,
Yeah.
where we not one but two fucking characters show up. We get like a redoing of the first opening scene of the movie with Sonic running in the woods and he beats everyone, of course, because he's fast. And then he gets surrounded by a bunch of metal Sonics, and you're like, oh shit, there's like so many of them. That's crazy. Um, and then
That's the end credit scene.
no, it's not. The
Yes,
end credit scene I
oh no, you're
thought
so
was
right. You're so right. You're so
the
right.
end credit scene is Shadow picking up his bracelet or whatever. Which I would love somebody out there to tell me in the comments, whether on Spotify or YouTube, or finding us in the Discord or wherever. Um, why did he take? Because they made a point for him to take his bracelets off, right, before he like pushes the thing away. And I was like, why did he do that? What are the significance of those, right? Like they never established like, oh, these are what he can, that'll keep him alive or something. I don't know. Like I'm like, so did they just do that just for the end credits scene to be like his thing, and then he picks it up like we thought Shadow died? Come on. But regardless, the mid credit scene, fucking Amy Rose shows up, and I lost my mind
That was
because
crazy.
that was my one prediction right before we had all gotten together before we watched the movie, and I was like, Amy Rose is gonna show up, and then she did, and she looked sick as fuck. I was so excited with her design. But yeah, I the one thing I'm nervous about is I just want them to like nail the voice acting, because Idris Elba is great. That was great casting. Getting Colin O'Shaughnessy back as like the original uh, voice actor for Tails, great. Love that. I don't think anybody can do that like better. Uh, I'm curious what you thought of Keanu as Shadow.
I loved him as Shadow, if I'm going to be
Okay,
completely honest with you.
yeah, I thought he was good. I didn't have any complaints, but he was like Idris Elba as Knuckles is like a completely different person. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
crazy. So I have faith that they'll cast the right person, but I also kind of want them to just cast the voice actress for Amy Rose, like that
Yeah.
she's been for like 10 years. Um, I want to get their name just to be safe. Oh my god, I just look. Okay, so the one that I'm most familiar with, it seems like, because I've seen clips of like Sonic Boom, is Sydney Robinson. But there has been, just on Sonic X, which was something I watched growing up, there was 3 different voice actors for Amy.
Holy
Um,
shit.
yeah, but the most recent has been Sydney Robinson. She's been for a lot of this stuff. So yeah, for most things. So just go get Cindy Robinson. Do that. Be safe about she'll crush it. But there's definitely been some fan casting, right? Like, is this real? This couldn't be real. No, I think
Shamar
people.
Moore.
I think
Sorry.
people. I think people are. Let me see. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna take a pause real quick and read this article and see if it's real or not, because I don't think it is. But let's see. Okay, no, it's not. It's not real. This is an old article speculating on who would voice Amy, but I think it should just be the original. Like, she does such a good job, right? And I think they need to. Oh, is it listed? There's so much misinformation here. To answer the question, there has not been a casting for Amy Rose yet, but I hope it's Cindy Robinson. And then, but if they get somebody uh, that's good, I trust them. They've done voice casting well so far. Um, but what um what are your favorite moments? We didn't really talk
Okay,
about that
so
too much.
I loved the Stargate. Like, I loved all the moments of like the memories with Maria.
Hmm.
But specifically, I loved the roller skating throughout the um like hallways. That one was
Yeah,
so cute. And then the stargazing.
stargazing was cool. Stargazing was
Stargazing
really
was so
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Um, but my third, and this is just the third because I
no
like
particular
just
order.
remembered
Yeah.
it. But this is like my actual top scene of like humor wise.
Mhm.
Was when they were in the restaurant and someone comes up to Tails and goes, "Are you Detective Pikachu?"
Oh my
And
god.
Knuckles goes, you kind of do look like a Pokemon. Pika
Yeah.
Pika."
That was so insane. I think that threw Nina for a loop for like a good 15 minutes. She's like, "How did they do that?" She was like, "Is that allowed?" Like, it was so funny. But um, speaking of Detective Pikachu, we will kind of talk about where these, like, if are the Sonic movies the best video game movies out there. We'll talk about that in a moment. But
I
do you have
found
any? Huh?
I found a clip.
Okay.
I sent it to you.
Okay. Let's see. Give it a shot. If it goes bad, I won't put it in.
Okay.
But if it's at least funny, it's going in.
You're my friend. And you can do or be anything you want. Not because of your powers, but because of who you are. In here.
You're my friend, and you can do and be anything you want. Not because of who you are, because of who you are in here.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I just listened to it and that sounded pretty good. I think that'll be fine.
There's definitely some other voice lines of hers, like sporadically through the movie, where
Mhm.
I can see where Nina thinks that
Right.
like
Right there,
they sound
that
like each
voice
other.
line is like super husky, right?
Yeah.
Like she has a very husky voice there.
Get me
Um
like a day after screaming, "You're my friend, and
You're
you
my
could
friend.
do and be whoever you want,
You can
not
do
because of who
anything.
you are,
You can
but
do
because who
anything,
you are
Shadow.
in
You
here."
can do anything. Um okay. So you went over your favorites. What do you think's like what do you expect for the next movie?
Oh, I can't wait for Amy Rose. Oh my god. I don't even know what to expect because of the end credit scene.
Right.
Because they're introducing two new big characters.
Well, yeah, like Metal Sonic is a bad guy, and if Robotnik didn't build him, who built him?
Who built him?
Um,
It's yeah.
my prediction is that Rouge the Bat's going to show up somehow, um, and just like break the internet a little bit. Because I kind of feel like they have to introduce a female uh, bad guy, quote unquote,
Yeah.
right?
A female
That
baddie.
yeah, literally. That's also going to like kind of corrupt Shadow, right? Keep him on
Yeah.
the edge of things and not just be because like at the end of the movie he's a good guy, right? And like Shadow is a good guy, right? Based on the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, he's a sweetheart who wants to buy tickets to Amy's favorite band. But I think it would be it would be cool to have him kind of like skirting the line because he's hanging out with Rouge and maybe not Robotnik. I mean, if Shadow's alive, Robotnik might be alive, but I have a feeling they left that open ended because like maybe this was the last one that Jim Carrey was going to do. Um,
Yeah.
and there's also a lot of other villains they could do. I don't think they'll do Silver the Hedgehog yet because he's from the future, and like they're not going to do back to back movies with a bad guy that's just a hedgehog. Um, they could do Chaos. That'd be kind of cool. Chaos from
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 1, which would be interesting because like now there's Shadow and whatnot. But there's a lot of different things they can do, but my biggest prediction is I think Rouge the Bat will also show up at some point. But yeah, there's it's super open-ended. Do you have any actual predictions?
I've got no clue, to be
Yeah.
completely honest with
And I
you.
think that's cool, right? There's there's not a lot of movies that come out nowadays where we can be like, I don't know, like what's happening or what's going to happen next, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everything's reported on, and you can kind of tell. Like, if I wanted to look up the whole plot synopsis of Captain America: Brave New World right now, that doesn't come out for over a month, I could find it. I could find it right away, but I don't want to. Okay, so with that covered, do you think the Sonic movies are uh, the best video game movies?
Hmm. That's a because you have to like look at this very objectively and stuff.
Hmm.
And opinions are this is completely opinionated. I will say it's better than the Super Mario Bros. Movie,
Yeah,
in my
it,
opinion.
it's a good one. That's a good movie, but like, it's nowhere near as good as these ones.
Yeah. Um, God, I really don't.
What about FNAF?
Oh, yeah, you're. I like Detective Pikachu, but
Hmm.
I love Sonic, so it's better than Detective Pikachu in my book.
Hmm.
Um, but they did really good on Detective Pikachu as well.
Yeah, for me, that was the only other competition that's on that tier with
For me,
Sonic.
it's FNAF just because, very near and
Yeah,
dear to my childhood.
I think FNAF 2 will be up in that tier. I
Oh, I
think
cannot wait for that.
I think that will be up in that tier. I think they missed the mark on a lot of stuff for FNAF 1 that leaves it somewhere around the Super Mario Brothers movie where it's like this is like super watchable and super fun and I would if somebody was like do you want to watch that and I had nothing else to do, I wouldn't be like no, right?
Yeah.
Sonic 1, 2 and 3 and Detective Pikachu. If somebody asked me to watch those, I'd be like, absolutely yes, like let's do that right now. Um, I haven't watched Detective Pikachu in a very long time, but I do own it on Blu-ray, and it's due a rewatch. So, but I think right now, I think the Sonic movies are better. So
I think just because they've been able to churn out 3 very good quality movies from the same franchise and make it not feel stale, I think the trilogy is the best out of the video game series.
yeah, let's also talk about the production time. These have come out every 2 years since the first one.
Yeah. And it took
Like,
like the FNAF movie like 5 years.
took the FNAF movie 8 years. Like, it was in development basically since the game exploded, right? Like, they rewrote that script like so many different
So many
times. So
times.
many different people were attached to it and stuff. Like, these Sonic movies are just, they're churning out good stuff. And they did the Knuckles show too, on top of that.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. But I'm glad that they didn't make it so you had to watch it. The only thing in it was that Wade had the Chaos Emerald. That was it. Um,
And even then in the movie, they were like, he, left it vague enough where you were
yeah,
like, oh, who'd he leave it with?
yeah,
Wait.
yeah. Like that's the only thing. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to comment on right now for this episode. This was a fun like. This is definitely a different like we had a topic to discuss, but moving forward, these episodes will be kind of like. Well, do you have any life updates right now to close the show out?
Do I?
I don't know.
Oh, I might have like a jam-packed schedule with playing games, recording my 18 credit hours, and the musical that I'm about to audition for.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy.
So you might not see me active on the Discord as much.
Yeah, and if you ever need to take a break too, remember I've always
Yeah.
given you you have an out if you need to, because school is more important than this hobby. As cool as this hobby is, for me, I started streaming as of yesterday. At time
Yes,
of
very
recording,
fun.
that was
Did you
super
search
fun.
up
Mm.
what I meant by "You're so Emperor's New Clothes Coded"?
No, I haven't looked that up.
Here, hold on. I will look it up for you and send it to
Okay.
you.
So yeah, I started streaming on Mr. the Human. It's twitch.tv/Mr. the Human, but underscores in between Mr. and the and human. If you just look up Mr. the Human Twitch, though, I'm pretty sure it'll also be in the show notes if you want to go follow me there. Currently, I'm going to be streaming every Wednesday at 7 MST. That's Mountain Standard Time. If you just look up what time it is in Arizona and compared to yours at 7, that's where I'll be. It was fun. I did Elden Ring Randomizer. I don't know what I'll do next week. I'll probably do it again. It was pretty fun. My dogs made an appearance. That was fun. And also, I will also in the future be doing. Okay. I can see what you mean by that. She sent me a picture of Brandon Urie from Emperor's New Clothes music video. Yeah,
Music video.
I could see that. My character did look like that for a little bit. Now he has clothes.
Okay.
But I will at some point. So this would be a good time to do the announcement for our next short game long talk that we'll be doing with collaboration of one of our very own Discord members, Phil, who is one of the co-hosts of the Codex podcast, one of my favorite podcasts about lore that I normally wouldn't care about. I literally listened. I think I've listened to like 5 hours of them talk about RuneScape lore, and I've never ever played RuneScape. It's very
I've only
entertaining.
watched an old, like, back in 2020, an old friend play RuneScape.
Yeah.
Now I'll
They
go check that episode.
they did a breakdown, literal like there was like quote unquote murders that happened within RuneScape because of a bug and people were dying in safe zones. And it's like one of the coolest internet stories I've ever heard. Like it was so sick to hear them break it down. I was like captivated the whole time. It like honestly might be one of my favorite podcast episodes of last year. Like it was crazy. Um, but we'll be playing I was a teenage exocolonist, which was one of my favorite games that I played last year, and I don't think it came out last year. I think it was 2023. Let me just make sure when that came out. 2022, actually. I feel
Mm.
like that must have been late 2022. But very good game. I loved it. I played through it twice because it is a game that begs to be played multiple times. Um, and I will recommend playing it twice, but there's a debug menu and cheats and stuff to kind of speed up secondary playthroughs to just get to the story bits that you want to get to, because it's choice based, and there's also a lot of accessibility options because the main like gameplay is a card game, but you can
Oh,
turn that off, and instead of a card game, it does a coin flip based on your stats. So the higher your stats are, the higher likelihood of passing. So if the card game ends up not being, something that you're into, you can turn that off and do it that way. And then on subsequent playthroughs, if you don't want to do the grinding, you can do the debug menu and just auto win everything, which I did on because I've put like 30 hours into the game, and gotten a couple endings, and I have one more ending that I've wanted to get, and it's going to take me a lot of work. So I'll be doing that on my own just to get it and talk about it because I want to experience it. But I don't think there's anything else. But in the future, when we do have games that I haven't played before, I will probably stream those on Twitch and do those on Saturday because it'll be like short game Saturday, alliteration and all that stuff. So
yeah.
follow me there if you ever want to get me like watching me live play games that will eventually be on the show, because that'd be kind of fun. But do you have anything else that's going on?
No, I'm pretty chilling at the moment.
Uh-huh. I just remembered a big thing. I beat Metaphor Refantasio at 90 hours.
Damn.
Still
Oh,
still 70 hours shorter than Persona 5 Royale. Um,
that's wow.
um, that game fucking rips, dude. That was my game of the year, and I stand by it, and it just got better. And it is currently like 0.5% behind Persona Royale. Persona 5 Royale is my favorite game ever. And like if I think about it more, it might end up being like it's just that good. So I just want to point that out. I finished the game. It's great. Now
I
I'm just going to be playing short games.
I do have actually 3 updates.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Pokemon it's TCP. I love that game. Got
Great.
obsessed with it. Amazing game. Got both my roommates obsessed with it. Got my brother obsessed with it. I just in true spatial / Dyson / my sweet mate fashion,
Mhm.
I loved gambling.
Oh,
Every time I opened that game, he's like, "Oh, are you gambling?"
mhm.
Because
It is. Yeah.
it's gambling.
It's free at least, unless you
Yeah.
actually pay money. But
And then I started this other mobile game. I don't know the full name on my phone. It's just called Pizza.
so,
You own a pizza shop, and like it's really it's really fun. It's kind of
uh-huh.
like Papa's Pizzeria, but you own the shop. And I'm on like day 3, but it's really
Cool.
fun.
Nice.
And then I just completed another mobile game called Perfect Tidy, where
Hmm.
it's just a little to the left, but
Oh, you
mobile
mentioned
and
that.
free.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
perfect for
I
you.
there's 151 levels. I completed all of them.
Oh
I
my
did the
god.
New Year's event. I did the Halloween event. I haven't done the Valentine's Day event. I did the move-in event, and I did the Halloween. I already said Halloween event.
Mhm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got to get we have to find a mobile game that's like a story, uh because Jackie from Fake Gamer
Yes.
Bro is very mobile game. So they're probably like freaking out right now like, "Oh, mobile game mentioned."
Oh,
Um
mobile game.
so we'll have to have them on for, or they can just come on here and talk about those games that you're playing. And I mean, I did a whole episode on TCG Pocket on their podcast, Fake Gamer Bro. So that was a fun chat. Are you just collecting cards, or are you battling at all?
I'm just collecting cards. Every
Okay.
so often, I'll like go over to my sweet mate's room and I'll be like, "Hey, password is pickle. Time to
Pickle?
play." Pickle.
Yeah,
Because no
I
one
like that.
uses the word pickle for a password.
Yeah. I just use your whoever I'm playing against, and it's like your name is your name. That's that's the thing. Because I tried to do what I normally do is your name is Poopy, but Nintendo was like, no, you can't say Poopy. I was like, damn
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm so into TCG Pocket that I bought.
I saw that you bought a whole deck.
Yeah, I bought a whole deck. It's not mostly just for me. I bought it so that I can play my nephew when I go visit him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also I have another deck on the way because I ordered a deck and they sent me the wrong one.
Oh,
And then
damn.
I was like, I looked into it and I was like, oh, this one's pretty good. And then I just ordered the other one. So now I'll have a battle deck so I can teach people how to play. So maybe me and you can play since you like kind of understand TCG. It's pretty similar. There's like very minor changes. But yeah, I bought this so that I can like beat up on my 7-year-old nephew when I play against him. No, I bought him some stronger decks for Christmas so that when I show up, we can play those instead of the really basic starter ones that are boring. But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you're into TCG Pocket. It's very fun. Send me screenshots of your cool packs that you got because my dopamine levels on that game are a lot lower now because I'm only short like I've completed all of Mythical Island. I have everything in that, and then I'm only like I think 14 cards off from getting all of them in the Genetic Apex set.
Wow. I'm
Yeah,
like 200 off,
yeah.
and
Well,
I have like
I've been playing since day one.
fair.
So, and I also have the I do the premium. Uh,
Mm,
so I get one extra pack a day, which helps after 2 months, 3 months
yeah, I
almost.
have. Let's look at how many hourglasses I have left because I don't use them. To be completely honest.
I definitely used them at the beginning when the new packs first became available. I'll check mine too right now. Let's see if I have a pack. We can open one live right now if I have a pack.
I
But
have 485 hourglasses.
that's quite a bit for somebody who's hasn't played too much because I'm at 350 right now after using 240 of them when Mythic Island came out to open 20 packs right at the start. Um, I'm basically saving all of these until the end of the month because a new full 3-pack set will come out. So
Mm,
that'll be exciting.
I'm gonna
All right.
open one right now.
All right. Oh, okay. Let me know what you get.
I'll use my 6. All right. Scroll. Do you scroll or do you just open the first one?
I look for backwards ones and ones that have bends in them, but I know it doesn't really do anything, but it's fun.
Joltik, Chatot, Pidgey, Rapidash, Raichu. Nothing new.
Bust. Well, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you're. My dog Honey is right here. She wants to go outside so bad. I'm glad you're playing that game because it's really cool. But yeah, if you ever get a cool pack, let me know. Send it my way because I love that shit. I'll hype you up. And then eventually trading will come, and you can come to me with my over 2,000 cards. And I can send you stuff because God, the Superior card, the full art one, that came with Mythical Island. I have 7 of those fucking things, and it drives me nuts because I don't even play that deck. I don't even like that deck, and that thing is glued to me. I opened 7 of those before I got a single Snivy. Like
That's crazy.
it was so weird. But regardless, I think that'll do it for this episode. Unless you have anything else you want to update people on.
I don't have any updates, I don't think.
Okay, cool. Well, hit us with the socials, please, Jess.
Yeah, so you could find us everywhere at Short Long Pod, or if you just want to search up Short Game Long Talk, we will pop up everywhere and everywhere. We are everywhere. And in our show notes and bios of everywhere is our link tree, and that can take you to LFG, our Discord server leveling friends group, where we talk about, you can get some behind the scenes of our podcast and like discussions about it. And we have a whole bunch of different creators there, and it's just a chill hangout spot.
Yeah, you get some sneak peeks occasionally on like what the next episode's going to be and everything. So it's good times. And if you're a content creator yourself and you go there, there's a good chance you'll collaborate with people eventually.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And then, yeah, a new thing for 2025 is like clips of the episode. So definitely want to be on Instagram and TikTok for those, because that's where those clips will be posted. It's a good time. I hope people like the clips. They're fun to make. And they're cool to give little previews of episodes coming up. I don't know if I'll do one for this because it's like, well, actually, we had a good discussion about 1000 xRESIST. It almost, I had to nip it a little bit because I was like, we're gonna turn this into a whole 1000 xRESIST Part 2 episode if we keep talking, which I'm cool with. We can always do that in the future, a retrospective. But thank you for joining us. If it's your first time listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a review and a comment too on Spotify, and if you're on YouTube, because I always forget about YouTube, but we're there. We're on YouTube Music and YouTube proper on my YouTube channel, which is where VODs will go for Twitch as well, I think. I might make a new channel just for the VODs just to keep it separate, but we'll see that in the future. But if you're new here and you enjoyed this episode, leave a review and a comment. That'd be great. I would love to hear from you. If you're not new and you have listened before, please share it around. Like, find somebody that hasn't heard us before and be like, listen to this. Just give it a chance. You like Sonic, skip to halfway through the episode and just listen to them talk about Sonic and stuff. But with that, don't forget to kidnap your friends.
Later.
Oh,
It
damn.
was on my bed.
I dropped my fidget.
No.
Am I supposed to function?